Oh, sorry about that. Yep, there we go. Now we've got. See, I need to check my levels before we start.
Yes.
So we're gonna do that one again.
Okay.
We can just start from the opening. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Homes Politicast. Had some technical issues there. Just for a second, I got them fixed now, obviously. So we are back. We're going to be again discussing a couple things from the Lanthorn. We've got the editorial board here.
Yes. Editorial board.
I still don't think we're coming through. Oh, yeah, there we are. Okay, just wanted to make sure we were coming through.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
good.
So we have got a couple things from the Grand Valley Lanthorn we're going to be discussing. Also, Dr. Jonay Caldoun, the Michigan's top doctor, as some label her, she's quit. She's quit her job there at the in the government, and Whitmer is not happy about some of the things that the legislature has passed in their budget. We are going to be talking about it all. Also, we have testimony from a lady in front of the Senate talking about all the things that are making Michigan famous lately. Cops in schools, kids getting segregated, as she says. We're going to hear about all that. Yeah, coming at you real quick. I'm Anon Don.
And I'm Jim.
And this is the Homes Politicast. All right. So, as you can see, we've got up the Lanthorn's, the Lanthorn's editorial. Go ahead and just move it right over to.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And then, so Jim's going to read this for us. We're going to discuss it. So, Jim, take it away.
All right. Get vaccinated, pleads the Lanthorn editorial board. The entire editorial board of the Grand Valley Lanthorn has received the COVID-19 vaccine, and each of us has written why we decided to get vaccinated. While we've already written about why students, faculty, and staff should get vaccinated, the September 30th deadline of GVSU's vaccine mandate is less than 2 weeks away, and anti-vaccine and vaccine-hesitant sentiment on campus is still strong.
I don't know where they get that from.
No, I don't either. In lieu of simply ignoring the critics of the mandate and our paper's coverage of COVID-19, we hope to open up a dialogue by acknowledging them and continuing to encourage the GVSU community to get the vaccine. The Lanthorn thanks you for hearing the stories of our editorial board, and we encourage you to write in or post a comment telling us why you got vaccinated, whether it be to safeguard the community or just make life during a pandemic a little more tolerable. Zavi Golden,
don't worry about pronunciation.
Web editor, says, I got vaccinated because I wanted to protect myself and others in the GVSU community. Professors, students, and staff are all susceptible to the virus, despite the claims made at the beginning of the pandemic that COVID-19 was only a threat to the elderly and the immunocompromised. Mary Reset, associate editor, says, I got vaccinated to do my part in protecting myself and the people around me. Not only do I feel a responsibility to not spread the virus to loved ones, but to the people I interact with who may or may not be immunocompromised. Megan Landgren, photo editor, says, I got vaccinated because I wanted to be able to protect myself and those around me. While I know others have mixed feelings about the vaccine, I feel as if my decision to get vaccinated acts as a contribution to get back to some normalcy. Zach Goodrow, editor-in-chief, says, I got vaccinated because I was diagnosed with cancer in high school. My mom is also diabetic. I choose to get vaccinated to protect myself, my mother, and others with health concerns in the GVSU community. Audrey Whitaker, news editor, says, when statistics say that 1% of people who get COVID-19 will die, do you know how many Americans that number includes? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the U.S. population is 332 million people and rising. 1% of 332 million people is 3,320,000 dead people. While the majority of those 3,320,000 people may not be college-age people, They are the parents, grandparents, coworkers, and community members of our age group.
All right. No way. Wait. Hold on, Jim.
Okay.
I
all
can't
right.
let that go.
I was
Because-
wondering how long it would take you
Because
to jump in
okay,
here.
okay, most of these reasons are awful to make other people get vaccinated. But that was just an outright lie printed in the Grand Valley Lanthorn. We know that there are not 3,320,000 people dead in America, so that 1%, she's lying about that. That is a lie printed in the Lanthorn. Now, I have my opinion not printed. I have true things not printed, like the 6%, or like 6 students have been hospitalized in the last year. But she's able to print that. See, this is why people, including, conservatives, don't trust the news, because, I mean, that was printed as it was printed as an editorial, but you'd think somebody would correct her and say, hey, Audrey, there's not 3 million dead people, there's 600,000, but, I mean, obviously she's making the case that the Lanthorn wants her to make, so it slides by, and
Yeah.
just couldn't let that go. Continue.
Audrey Whitaker continues by saying, "You can tell me that this is a small portion of the population, but it won't feel small when you lose a friend, family member, or coworker. I know the feeling firsthand. I got the vaccine because I will do anything in my power to reduce the number of lives lost to COVID-19 and the suffering it causes for those who are sick as well as their families. I'm also tired of wearing a mask, and vaccines will help us get back to normal."
Well, she thinks it will, but
Sabrina
I'll leave
Edwards,
that one alone.
Laker Life editor, says, "I chose to get vaccinated earlier than most because my mom is immunocompromised. During the pandemic, I had to take a leave of absence from work in order to not potentially pass COVID-19 onto her. I also wanted to do my part to stop the curve. It's important to me to get vaccinated so I'm not putting my family at risk." Holly Billman, sports editor, says, "I got vaccinated because I wanted to get back out into the world and do all of the things I loved again. Obviously, sports games are back on my radar, as well as concerts and going out with my friends. I also feel responsibility to protect my professors and classmates who could be unable to vaccinate or are more at risk than myself. I would hope that all of my peers have the same urgency and respect for me and my family so that we can all get back out into the world and start enjoying our lives again."
One more interruption. I keep on hearing about these people who are unable to vaccinate. Who are these people?
I don't know.
All the people that I know that haven't gotten the vaccine, it's not that they're not able to vaccinate. They're either against a brand new vaccine or they're against mandates.
Yeah.
Like these fabled people that. All right, continue. We'll talk about it at the end.
Viviana Rubio, the layout editor, says, "I got vaccinated to protect my parents and grandma. I had to separate myself from them because I was afraid to get them sick without knowing. Getting the vaccine gave me an extra layer of protection to feel comfortable being around them. Before the vaccine came out, 3 of my family members died of COVID-19. It was horrible. They died alone. No one was able to be around them, and I didn't get to say goodbye. It was really painful, and I never wished that on anyone. We have the chance to protect ourselves and others. We have the chance to go back to some sort of normal, and we are lucky this vaccine is widely available to us, while people in other places don't have access to it. My heart goes out to anyone who has lost someone to COVID-19. And Koi Tron, layout designer, said, "I got vaccinated because I want to protect myself, get back to normal, and protect my family and people around me. Being stuck in my house throughout the whole pandemic was hard, and it affected my mental health because all my plans got canceled, including an exhibition that I had worked hard for. Therefore, as soon as the vaccine was available for people my age, I got it."
Well, there was not one piece of scientific evidence in there, not one hyperlink. That is. Am I? Why did I just all of a sudden go up? Oh, because I went to the top. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know. That's weird. But crap. I think my mic is. Oh, I'm clipping. Cool. So, not one scientific piece of evidence, for anything they said. Not there wasn't really anything substantiated there.
No.
Yeah, I'm definitely having problems with my mic. That's unfortunate. So, Check. Okay. Check. Okay. Now I should be. Check. Okay. I've got a problem. Mike, that's fun.
It's always a good time.
Always a good time when you can't get your equipment to work.
Mm-hmm.
Check. Use the dead air here for a second. Wow. Why is this not working? Check. Okay. Well, we're gonna do our best here with the broken mics. So again, not really any scientific evidence presented here.
Some of them were very personal. I mean, I feel bad for them, not making fun of them, but I mean, the reasons are just experiential. Yeah. Like my grandma was sick, or I had cancer, or I have a family member who's immunocompromised.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ridiculing that. I'm just saying that that's the only reason they're giving. It's not based on science. It's based on experiential.
Right. And the thing I see often with this is like people keep on saying, "Oh, I get it to protect someone else," and that's not really like. There's no scientific evidence of that. Like, you can still get the virus. You can still spread it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? This is just not gonna work. Cool. So yeah, you can still get the virus. You can still spread it. And so I don't. Okay, you can hear me on the recording. So, it might just be that thing that's bugging out.
Oh.
Okay. So actually, that's not a problem. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, cool. My mic is working. Oh, I just freaked out.
They probably think you're crazy.
Probably.
They're like, I can hear it just fine. What's he talking about?
Probably. Unfortunate. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, if you lose, 3 people, you knew 3 people that died. That is horrible. I've known no people that have died though, and actually, I know a lot of people that don't know anybody that have died from COVID.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, again, you're talking about your personal experience, and an anecdote does not a data set make. We've got a data set. We talked earlier about this 3,320,000. That's just an outright lie. It's a fabrication, and it's meant to make the student population, in particular, think that their chances of death is a lot higher. And it's bad argumentation like this that leads people not to trust news sources. So every news source, I believe, has probably taken a philosophy 101 class. They know that you cannot just use your own anecdote,
right? Yeah,
and say that this is broadly across the board. But that's why we exist, because not very many news outlets use logic with their data sets anymore.
And I'd like to know where she got that statistic from anyway, because it says when statistics say that 1% of people who get COVID-19 will die, where she cites the U.S. Census Bureau as far as the population, but she doesn't cite where she got the statistic that 1% of people will die of COVID.
Well,
like, I'm not sure who is saying that. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I'd like to know, because I don't believe that's true. I don't think they've said 1% of people who get COVID will die. So I'd be interested in seeing where she's getting her information from.
Yeah.
Because that's an extremely large percentage.
Yeah.
It's not even 1% of people are going to die of this.
Yep.
Or have died.
No, it's not even close. It's maybe like if 1% is indeed 3 million, then it would be what, less than a quarter, more than an eighth of that, because we've got 600,000 dead, 500,000.
Yeah, I think it's about that.
Yeah, and again, mostly elderly people with pre-existing conditions. And death is awful. Yeah, you're right. And the editorial board, they recognize that death is awful, but it's not something that you can fix, and it's certainly not something that you can fix by shutting down a college. It's certainly not something you can fix by keeping 20-year-olds spaced out 6 feet apart and telling them to be scared of the cough. Right. So, and I think the Lanthorn doesn't really understand why I criticize them. and this is why, because people need to know the truth. They don't need to be fed false statistics. They don't need to be fed fear. They need to, the Lanthorn's own editorial board, they say, we want to be a beacon of light. We want to be truth. We want to be spreading, knowledge for the students. They say that they want to do all these things, and then they put out false statistics, and then they remove statistics from authors that, have done their due diligence, that have talked to people from the university. Like, I've got on my Twitter the email that says 6 students have been hospitalized in the last year.
Yeah.
Why is that number not included? We don't know. But that's, I think that's all we can really say about this one. There's not a whole lot going on really in the article. It's not very convincing to people that are going to be vaccine hesitant.
Right. Well, that's the thing. They're not addressing those concerns. I mean, there are people who don't want it at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, that's their right. If I'm not anti-vaccine necessarily. If the people want to get it, go ahead. If they don't want to get it, that's their decision. But if you're vaccine hesitant, why aren't they trying to alleviate that hesitation by science or statistics or whatever? Saying this is how many people have the shot. This is how many got sick after. Whatever.
Well,
whatever the point, whatever they're hesitant about, instead of addressing that, it's just an appeal to emotion and well, I think you should get it because I had relatives who died and that was horrible. You don't want to have to. I couldn't say goodbye to my grandfather.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't. If I'm hesitant to get the vaccine, that's not going to convince me to go get the vaccine because you had a grandfather who died and you didn't get to say goodbye. Why does that affect me?
Yeah, and that wasn't actually the fault of the virus either. That
right.
was the fault of your governor saying that you couldn't, come into the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, that was the fault of your health department. That wasn't the vaccine didn't, or the virus didn't do that.
Right.
So
yeah, it just seemed like an appeal to emotion and not, the people who are hesitant, they have a mindset. You have to appeal to their mind if you want to persuade them to get vaccinated, not give them sob stories.
Yeah. About
how horrible it is for you that, I might not be able to see my grandmother or whatever. They're not reaching their intended audience.
Yeah.
They're just preaching to the choir, as they say.
Yeah.
People who are already vaccinated, they're like, oh yeah, I got it. This is right on, brother.
Yeah. And so you mentioned them like talking about, we're just going to get rid of this. We'll pull up the next article. Okay. You mentioned them, talking about the people that have gotten it and, they're doing great. The problem is that they can't do that because the people that have gotten it are still getting the virus. So,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I've documented that. The CDC has this mass amount of breakthrough cases. Like, they're already coming out with articles that say 6 months and the vaccine is no good anyway. So we'll have to get it every 6 months. Now it's going to be mandated. But regardless, let's move on, and we're gonna see. Actually, for some reason they mentioned the abortion law.
Yeah, I was just wondering this myself. I was reading ahead and what on earth? Is this?
We dealt with this 2 weeks ago. We made some people very, very upset on campus here because I dared to say that maybe we should reconsider our stance on abortion.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take this one, and we'll see if I can actually make it through.
We'll see how far you can get into the article.
Yeah. Usually I'm the one that I can't take it. So.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't take it, you're more than welcome to break in. But
okay. I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Following their late night decision on September 1st not to block a now infamous Texas abortion law, the Supreme Court has featured heavily in headlines as Americans debate not only the law itself, but its bounty-based method of enforcement. Bounty-based method of enforcement? Well, we'll find out maybe. Sometimes they explain themselves. Many of the arguments revolve around Roe versus Wade, which affirmed a constitutional right to safe and legal abortions. Yeah, that's right in there with your I still haven't seen this right actually. So we'll just continue. Having yet to be overturned, arguably making the law itself unconstitutional. To complicate matters further, Senate Bill 8 specifies that defendants being accused of enabling abortions cannot argue that the law is unconstitutional as a defense. Only a few weeks later, on September 17th, the United States celebrated Constitution Day in memory of the document's original ratification in 1787. In contrast to the previous Articles of Confederation, the new Constitution pointedly omitted any assertion that each state remained sovereign, said Akhil Reed Aman, professor of law and political science at Yale University. You looked skeptical there for a second.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay, at the Constitution Day, you didn't need to break in?
No.
Okay. At the Constitution Day celebration, hosted by the Hussein Center for Presidential Studies.
Well, that's a great name.
No, the Heunstein.
Oh.
Heunstein? We're having, I think I just got from Amar, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get in trouble with YouTube. The overlords are going to shut me down if I get too edgy. The new Franklin Washington plan expressly proclaimed that states must always and everywhere bow to the supreme law of the land formed by the federal Constitution. So that's what he says about the Constitution. States must always and everywhere bow to the supreme law of the land formed by the federal Constitution. Interesting. The proposed Constitution would only bind states that agreed to it. And even then, only if 9 or more of the original 13 states agreed. Ultimately, the Constitution won the popular vote in 11 of the 13 states. North Carolina and Rhode Island remained sovereign, independent, and separate from the United States until 1789 and 1790, respectively. Amar has a history with the Supreme Court, having served for clerk then, now Judge Justice Stephen Breyer, as a younger man. That's the guy with the glass eye. Yeah, it's always looking in the wrong direction.
Oh, no, I'm never gonna be able to look at him the same again now. I'm gonna notice that.
Yep, that was my intent. Years later, in his career as a legal scholar, he's been cited as a source by the Supreme Court justices across the political spectrum in over 40 cases. In his presentation of a chapter from his new book, The Words That Made Us, America's Constitution Conversation, Amar shows the audience the political cartoon that had contributed toward popular attitudes surrounding the developing Constitution, including Ben Franklin's original invention of the medium with his 1754 join or die snake, segmented into 13 colonial pieces. Later, after 1787, cartoons featured the imagery of the 11 pillars holding up the federal government became popular as well. So there's your two pictures there. No pillar once up could be unilaterally removed, lest the grand federal dome supported by and in turn supporting the pillars tumbled to the ground, Amar said. The two missing pillars, depicted in the cartoon as toppled or cut off at the base, would be persuaded to ratify the Constitution themselves after its first 10 amendments. The Bill of Rights, which addressed many of the most frequent objections to the Constitution that arose during the original ratification process. Unfortunately, how long is this thing? Okay, not too much longer. Unfortunately, laws quickly emerged that were in violation of this new section of the Constitution. The Bill of Rights, Amar said, I wrote a whole book on it. It means nothing for the first 100 years, truth be told, and I like the thing, I have a soft spot in my heart for it. But it says Congress, for example, can't pass a law abridging the freedom of speech and of the press. Congress passed such a law, and President John Adams enforced it ruthlessly. It's a law that makes it illegal to criticize John Adams, and so much for the First Amendment until further in our story. Through a negative interference, it wouldn't be the last time a president influenced the Constitution. Amar argued that the most important change to the Constitution in the history of the United States was Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which laid the groundwork for the 14th and 19th Amendments. Presidents turned out to be pretty important actors in our constitutional system. Even if you think courts are important, who picks the judge? That would be presidents. Presidents are supposed to pick judges. Judges aren't supposed to pick presidents. I just, by the way, explained the problem with Bush versus Gore in passing. Yeah. This guy is not a...
I'm holding my tongue as much as I can.
Okay. We'll keep going.
Yeah.
Jim has a lot to say about this one. I can't wait. Presidents turned out to be... Oh, I already did that one. But despite the importance of the presidency to the Constitution, as Amar points out, it was designed with George Washington in mind as a strong executive. More important to the Constitution than any individual is America as a system, which is exactly why it's important for voters to be informed about the underlying laws of our country. Every 4 years we pick a president, Amar said. You are the hiring committee, and you need to understand what a president needs to do and what the rules are. Because the first thing a president does is raise his or her hand and pledge to preserve. We haven't had her, but whatever. I have to throw it in there. Pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And if you don't understand the Constitution, you won't be able to tell if they're doing a good job. I agree with that. I don't think he understands the Constitution, but we'll explain to our listeners so that they understand. Those interested in watching a recorded version of Grand Valley State University's Constitution Day celebration can find it online at the Weinstein Center's YouTube page. The chapter Amar presented at the event, The Memes That Made Us, can be read on Latham's quarterly website. Okay, a lot of gobbledygook in there. The memes that made us, Jim. We're okay. So, here is your weapon, good sir. Fire away with whatever you have.
All right. I don't have any idea what this has to do with the Texas abortion law, how they worked that into it. It just starts off with this whole paragraph about the Texas abortion law, and then it moves on. Okay. The first thing, I'm sure you noticed it too. Let me see where. But, he's right to a certain degree, but then he goes off out in left field somewhere.
Yeah.
The states really, they're not completely sovereign, obviously, because they're United States. We're all formed together, but we're all working together. But the 10th Amendment is what says that everything else goes back to the states,
Yeah,
so the states have a lot of power on their own, but there are just a few things that they just insist on. It's not that you don't bow down to the federal government, but they're just saying, if you want to be part of this nation, there are certain things. You have to have a democratic, elections. You can't have a dictatorship. You can't have a king, king of New England or, all that. You have to have elections and you have to, you can't be a dictator. You can't violate freedom of speech and things like that. I guess technically there are rules, but it's not enforced like, you will do this. It's just a compact. We want everybody in these United States to enjoy the same freedoms.
Yeah, and it's not even that this, number one, can you imagine the Federalists trying to pitch this to Americans? You must bow to the federal government.
Yeah, that never would have worked.
No way.
They would have had another revolution.
And they would have been looking at it. We think that anybody that came before us is stupid and couldn't read or couldn't figure out how to govern themselves or how to retain their own freedom. But really, these men were very smart.
Yeah.
They're coming over from England. They're very well educated. Most of the people forming the government, they knew that they needed to constrain the government, and that's what this Amar guy doesn't get, is that the Constitution, when it is defended, does constrain the government. As you mentioned, it the 10th Amendment says anything not delegated to the federal government goes to the states. Right? Yeah. And he mentions this this fabled right to a safe legal abortion. I can't find that in the Constitution. Let me see.
Yeah, Tom's gotten up. He's going over to the bookshelf. What is he doing?
I have a Constitution up here somewhere.
He has a copy of the Constitution.
I'm going to look up and see.
And he's going to be looking in the Constitution to see where...
Only if it's readily available.
It has the right to keep right to not keep a baby.
You know what? I don't have.
He doesn't have one right here, but I can tell you, there is no constitutional right.
There is no constitutional right.
The Roe v. Wade was it never was about abortion. I mean, it was about abortion, but I mean, it never made a ruling on abortion itself. It just said that it was impossible to enforce the Texas law that banned abortion because you'd have to subpoena a woman's medical records to find out if she had an abortion, and you can't subpoena them unless you have proof that a crime has been committed.
Yes.
So they never once said abortions, yes, abortion's legal, abortion's constitutional. They just said there was just no way to enforce that law.
Yep.
As it was written. So I hate that every time people say that there's a constitutional right to abortion. There is not. It's just that becomes the, what do you call it?
Buzzword.
It becomes the default. I mean, by default, abortions became legal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not
because Texas was unable to enforce that one law.
Right. It became legal because of that, but the Supreme Court never ruled that a woman has a constitutional right to an abortion. Right.
Never. Now, just to help the Lanthorn out, because I would like to see this paper up its game here. I would like to see them actually inform the public of what's going on. So editors, feel free to take my advice, or feel free to keep making cartoons about me, whatever. But to here when you say affirmed a constitutional right to safe and legal abortions, you should have a hyperlink there linking to something. Yeah, that's a giant claim to make. Mm-hmm. Now, I as an opinion columnist, I know what I need to substantiate. When I make a big claim like there's something in the Constitution, I should probably cite it. And we don't seem to actually. What is this? Oh, cannot argue that the law is unconstitutional as a defense. That's about Senate Bill 8. So that's not a hyperlink to the Constitution. That doesn't tell us where the clause is in the Constitution that says women have a right to a safe and legal abortion.
Right. And even if Roe v. Wade did say women have a right to an abortion, nowhere does it say you have a right to a safe abortion. I mean,
right? No abortion is safe. Somebody dies in every single one.
They keep adding this stuff to it. Now a woman has a right to a safe and legal abortion.
Yeah.
Even if it was true, it just means that she's entitled to an abortion. It doesn't. Even if that were true.
Yeah.
It would just mean basically she could have an abortion. It doesn't say anything about how it has to be sanitized. It has to be in a doctor's office with a rose scent, fragrance candle and all these kind of things. I mean, it makes no argument about how the abortion needs to be done. So even if that was true, it does not say it's a constitutional right to a safe abortion. It would just be abortion, but that's all moot because it doesn't grant a right to an abortion.
Yep. So, and I don't have too much more to say about this. I mean, I don't think.
It just kind of annoys me. He just gets information. He's almost right. He's really close. I mean, he's probably a pretty knowledgeable guy about a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
But he's just a little off. But I don't know why Amar, the way he talks just sounds so disingenuous. Like the Bill of Rights. Actually, it kind of reminds me of Obama. The Bill of Rights. I wrote a whole book on it, and it means nothing for the first 100 years.
Yeah.
And I like the thing. I have a soft spot in my heart for it. It just sounds. I like it. I like the thing.
Yeah.
That whole freedom thing. I like it.
Yeah.
It just sounds funny. Like I like
it. It does.
I have a soft spot in my heart for it.
It's like, he's saying it's totally useless, but I like the idea of it, just to kind of throw some meat to the conservatives and say, oh no, the Constitution is great. Don't get me wrong. It's just totally worthless.
I'm talking about throwing out the Constitution. I have a soft spot in my heart for it.
Yeah. It's just totally worthless, and we never follow it, and we just should get rid of it because we don't follow it anyway. I mean,
and then this part again, presidents are supposed to pick judges. Judges aren't supposed to pick presidents. Again, they have no understanding of the Supreme Court and what the rulings are. The Supreme Court only ruled that they had to do a full recount of the entire state, but since the Electoral College had to meet in a couple of days, they didn't have time. So they said, unfortunately, we just have to leave it the way it is. Whoever's ahead right now is the winner. That they did not pick Bush and say, we're going to appoint George Bush president.
Yeah.
They just said, that really what happened by cherry picking certain counties, you can't do that. You have to have a recount of the entire state. But unfortunately, it's too late. The Electoral College has to meet. So we're just going to leave it as it is. Whoever's ahead right now is going to be declared the winner of the votes. That is not the same as looking at Bush and Gore and saying, okay, we've decided we're going to pick George W. Bush as president. It just aggravates me. These people don't understand the Supreme Court at all.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're a newspaper, when you're an outlet that is specifically has to say whatever the university deems is right, then you have to go with this kind of stuff, and it's kind of shoddy, and you don't really have any evidence for it, and you don't really have any hyperlinks. It's just kind of there. So
I do like the last part. If you don't understand the Constitution, you won't be able to tell you're doing a good job.
I totally.
That's right on.
That is the most accurate sentence in the entire article.
Yeah, the president does raise at this point, his hand and pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
We need to read the Constitution, understand it, so we know what if they're doing is constitutional.
Yep. And I think too few. I'm talking to you, college students. Too few of us have read through the Constitution. The people that built this country gave it to us for a reason. Like, it might be a good document just to go over. And I know your civics teacher in high school told you this, but here I am just once again reminding you that the Constitution's a pretty nice document. We should read it more often. We are running out of time very quickly.
Once we get started, it's hard.
It is. So we're gonna fly through a couple more things. So number one, Dr. Jonah Caldoun has resigned.
And we don't know why. Is that correct?
We do not know why.
Isn't she the second person in Whitmer's administration?
So the MDHHS director resigned.
Okay.
Now she is the she's not the MDHHS director. She's just their lead doctor or something. I don't know.
The chief medical executive.
Yeah, chief medical. I don't know.
Exactly her title is, but that's what they're calling her.
Yeah, she's a doctor that the government consults, and according to the Detroit Free Press, she's the number one doctor, I think. But so we're just gonna read through just a little bit of this because we don't have a ton of time. We got like a few minutes. So, Michigan's chief medical executive. Oh, you know what? You go ahead.
Me? Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Michigan's chief medical executive is leaving her role with the state health department, becoming the second top agency official to leave this year amidst the battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Joni Caldoun will step down at the end of the next week, Governor Whitmer said in a news release Friday. Caldoun, who continued to serve as an emergency room physician in Detroit while working for the state, has accepted a new role outside of government. This work has been the honor of my life. I've been inspired by the entire MDHHS team and their expertise and dedication to serving the people of Michigan, Caldoun said in a statement, referring to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. This is very bittersweet, but I am excited for this new and unique opportunity to continue doing my life's work of advancing bold programs and policies that promote the health of all communities. The statement did not provide details on Caldoun's new job. Before becoming the chief medical executive for the state in 2019, Caldoun worked as a director and health officer for the Detroit Health Department.
I don't think we need to go much further. I mean, we're not gonna get any see. So I thought we had reporters to find out what what was going on.
They don't seem very interested. They're not very curious.
No.
I'm curious. I'm not even a reporter, and I'm just curious. Well, why is she quitting?
Yeah.
Why now? Why not last week? What's going on?
Kind of like with Robert Gordon and the $90,000 that he got, or $120,000. I'm like, why now? Why money? Why what?
Why the secrecy?
Yeah. Why is everything behind closed doors? It's much like with the college. I can't get anybody from the college to talk to me about the mandates. Mm-hmm. Nobody from the press can get Whitmer to talk to them. Not that they're trying, which again is a problem I have with the press. I mean, they're very bad at getting information that the people want.
They have a lack of curiosity. They don't seem to want to follow through with anything. It's like they're lazy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's leaving. Okay, this is what she said.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep, she said it, and she's in the government, so we believe her. And that's...
And we're heading out to the bar now. Let's go get some shots.
Yep.
Our work's done for the week.
Yep. So that's what we got there. We're not going to focus on these for too long because, like I said, we are very quickly running out of time. I'm not sure how long we've been going.
It seems like it's been a while.
It's been about an hour. So, Whitmer's office, ban on orders requiring masks for kids unconstitutional. So, basically, the what do you call it? The legislature, the Senate, just voted, and I actually have a clip here from the hearing that they were engaged in. But it was a discussion as to whether or not we were going to fund schools that required children to wear masks. Now, keep in mind that the government requires these children to be in school, right? They require parents to give them an education. Now they're requiring them to wear a mask all day, and these things are disgusting. I don't think I need to go into what children do with their masks again, but I'll let this lady, I forget what her name is, but she has been working, let's...
It might show her name in a minute.
I don't think it will. I think it did at the beginning. They said her name, so we'll find her name at the beginning, after we listen to just a little bit of this clip.
As you've probably seen the viral videos, we have schools where we have hundreds of kids, one of the schools, being segregated into the cafeteria because they are standing up for their rights and not putting a mask on, and they are being threatened with suspension. Get out of the school or you are suspended. The police were there. We have police being called into our schools right now in Michigan. We have parents filing police reports. We have groups of kids pushing their way into school buildings to get an education. Like, this is so insane and bizarre that it's mind-blowing that we are living in a state that is allowing this. It's being allowed, and it's continuing, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I can't keep up. Our group is the one that we've raised $200,000 to pay for lawsuits for these type of people that I'm talking about. $200,000. I have $35,000 left right now that we are paying for these people that are calling me. And we have lawyers jumping on board like crazy to file them. We are going to keep filing these lawsuits. We won. We had 15 kids file lawsuits at the end of last year regarding quarantines. 12 of those kids won. 12 of them won. This isn't something that's going to be allowed to be. That's the
girl
yucky
that threw
girl.
up in her mouth, in her mask.
Oh, I'm kind of glad we missed that part because it's disgusting.
That is disgusting. So let's get her name real quick.
Students and all required vaccines, which is a part of existing statute.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The girl threw up in her mask and they made her keep wearing it.
No, they didn't make her keep wearing it, but she didn't want to take it off. She was so anxious that she threw up in her mask.
And she was so scared.
Yeah, she was scared to take it off.
Oh, gotcha.
That was the point that this lady's making. Okay, we'll get her name here in a second.
Dead air. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jamie McElvaney, and
Jamie McElvaney. Okay, yeah. She's been doing a lot with parents on Facebook. She's been getting different school districts together to rally against the mask mandates, and I don't think she's been organizing the student protests. I think those are homegrown things that are going on, but obviously we don't see this stuff in the news. I think you should definitely, you can find this on well, you know what? Anybody that wants this video, ask me for the link. I'll send it to you. But just some of the things that she talked about. She just talked about the cops in the school, and we've seen that. We've seen police called on children because they're not wearing their masks in the school. That's been going viral. So Whitmer,
so ridiculous.
It is, and so Whitmer is opposed to these policies. The Republican legislature passed these bills. See, the policy on mask order was one of a series of similar measures attached to the budget. So it was attached to the budget. It defunds schools that put these measures in. So yeah, Whitmer's basically she's going against those. Not very good for her re-election campaign. Like, because she promised for her re-election, right, that there was going to be no more mask mandates, right? I remember that.
That's what she said.
I think we talked about that last time you were over.
We did.
Yeah.
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 She kind of painted herself into a wall.
Yeah.
By saying no more mask mandates, no more lockdowns.
And now we've got legislation that stops mask mandates, and she's opposing it. Now I'm not going to go any further because I do very poorly talking about Governor Whitmer in a respectful way, but she should not be reelected if she cannot keep her word from 1 month to the next. We just met a month ago. She was saying no more mandates. Now she's very clearly opposed to legislating no mandates. So with that, that is going to be the show for today. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you catch Jim's show. He does them on Wednesdays. He's not live streamed or anything, but I may live stream them after he gets them out. Follow the Facebook page or YouTube. You can watch me live. Facebook, you can watch me live. Twitter, you can watch me live. Twitch. What else do we got? Rumble. We got it all just in case. YouTube's gonna get rid of me pretty soon. Because that seems to be their general trend. So make sure you're following me, but also don't trust YouTube to bring me to you. All right. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anon Don.
And I'm Jim.
And this is the Holmes Politicast. I was trying to draw that out so that I could get it. There we go. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you next